This conference will now be recorded.
All right, let's start today's session. This is the first session of ASP.NET. So today we'll give I would like to discuss complete introduction of ASP.NET and what things I'm going to discuss in our ASP.NET, we'll discuss in detail first. So first of all, ASP.NET stands for ASP.NET stands for Active Server Pages. What is ASP.NET here? ASP.NET stands for Active Server Pages. Active Server Pages means we can develop using ASP.NET, we can develop web applications. ASP.NET stands for Active Server Pages, and ASP.NET is the product of Microsoft. ASP.NET is also the product of Microsoft. Product of Microsoft. And now, using ASP.NET, we can build or develop web applications. We can build or develop web applications. So using ASP.NET, we can build or develop web applications clearly. So web application means what? Online applications. These applications also called as distributed applications. Distributed application means once we design the web application and that we can host on the server. Once we host on the server, that applications through, we can access the content. For example, in our daily life, we are going to deal with many operations with web applications only. To order the food, we are going to use web apps. And to purchase any items, we are using web applications like Flipkart, Amazon, and so on. And if you want to do any business transactions or online transactions, we are going to use web applications like all SBI, net banking, ICICI net banking, Access Bank net banking, HDFC net banking. All these applications are web applications only. Okay, so in using ASP.NET, we can build or develop web applications completely. But in ASP.NET, how we can build web applications? What are the things are required here? Okay, so observe carefully. In ASP.NET, what I'm going to discuss in our session means ASP.NET Core. Okay, we can build web applications ASP.NET with the .NET framework. ASP.NET with .NET framework like this. And also we can build web applications ASP.NET with the .NET Core framework, .NET Core. But our topic is .NET Core only, not .NET framework. So if you go for ASP.NET with the .NET framework, it will be easy to implement because there is drag and drop option is there. Drag and drop options are there when we build ASP.NET web applications using .NET framework. Okay, so ASP.NET with the .NET framework, drag and drop options are available in ASP.NET. Okay, but now this session I'm going to conduct according to our previous discussion. So ASP.NET with .NET Core platform, ASP.NET with .NET Core platform. So .NET Core 3.1 version, I'm going to cover all the topics. But you may get doubt. What about ASP.NET with frameworks are here? Okay, what about ASP.NET with framework? So if some companies are asking ASP.NET with the .NET framework, and some companies nowadays .NET platform is completely changed. That is .NET Core is there. Core means which will be run your web applications on any platform. So I am not going to cover any topics ASP.NET with the .NET framework. That is drag and drop options are there. No, yes, that I don't want to cover because if I cover this again, your batch will be extend 1 month. But I committed to cover only .NET Core. This is new things completely. But the reason is .NET Core is the latest, and .NET Core, there is no drag and drop options are available. Okay, why? Because here in ASP.NET with .NET Framework, so automatically when we create web page, then automatically when we drag and drop buttons or text boxes and labels into your web page, behind the scenes some HTML code will be generated automatically. But when it comes to ASP.NET with the .NET Core platform, so there is no HTML generate. You have to write complete HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Bootstrap, and so on. So what I will do, I have already my previous lectures, like 6 months, 1 year back, I conducted many sessions with the .NET Framework only, not .NET Core. So I have all the videos of ASP.NET with the .NET Framework. I will share to all my students, those who are attending this session, ASP.NET with the .NET Framework videos and material also. You can go through it when you get free time, but this is optional to prepare, not required. Even some companies, if you are expecting, if they are expecting from you ASP.NET with the .NET Framework, then you can watch these videos and you can gain the knowledge. But I'm saying that this is our live sessions. I'm going to conduct all ASP.NET with .NET Core only. Got my point? Yes. So both covering is not possible and not required also. So current trend is completely .NET Core, not .NET Framework. Because you know very well, .NET Framework will make platform dependent, means which will run on only Windows operating system. When we build ASP.NET applications using .NET Core platform, it will make platform independent, which will be run on any operating system like Unix, Linux, and so on. So I'm going to cover all the sessions with .NET Core platform, and you have to be, I will send this all ASP.NET with the .NET Framework videos. Okay, you can check out there, drag and drop options are available. So uh, both ways you can compare. So which one is comfort, you can decide that. But actually the thing is, if the companies are asking ASP.NET with .NET Framework, then there are simply we can able to design by using drag and drop mechanism, what we have seen in our Windows Forms application. In Windows Forms application, how we drag the control and drop from toolbox, same here in .NET Framework also is there. But I'm not going to discuss any sessions related to ASP.NET with .NET Framework. I'm going to discuss all sessions ASP.NET with .NET Core Framework. But in ASP.NET Framework point of view, no need to learn any HTML, CSS, JavaScript basic idea. But when it comes to ASP.NET Core with .NET Core, this is required. You need to compulsory have the basic idea of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Bootstrap, jquery, all these things. Compulsory it is required. Okay, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Bootstrap, jQuery, compulsory it is required here. These things are required. So after completion of introduction of ASP.NET, okay, I'm going to conduct first 1 week sessions, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Bootstrap, and jQuery. These are called UI technologies. UI technologies means user interfaces. After conducting 1 week sessions of UI user interface sessions, then our focus is completely on ASP.NET Core with the .NET Core platform here, 3.1 only. Okay, so this is our platform. But later we'll discuss once I start creating an application, okay, so that you will understand. So what is the difference between ASP.NET with the .NET Framework and ASP.NET with the .NET Core? I'll make difference clearly. So later you can understand this. So right now I'm going to discuss what is ASP.NET, web applications, and web page means what, website means what, all these things I'll discuss in detail. From right now onwards, we are going to deal all with web applications only. Okay, so what is web application? First of all, just try to understand what is web application. What is web application? So web application means the application which will provide services over the web are called web application. What is web application? The applications which will provide which will provide the application which will provide services over the web is called web applications. We can say that the applications which will provide services over the web is called web application. In web application development, every programmer should understand the following technical terms. So what are the following technical terms means? What is web page? You must and should understand. What is website also you should understand. And what is web browser also you should understand. And then finally, what is web server also you have to understand. These are very, very important terms. So why? Because from now onwards, we are going to deal with always web pages, websites, and web browser and web servers. So first we look into what is web page here. So web page is nothing but information towards the end user. For example, I am opening my web page. Okay, so this is web page are here. I'm opening durgasoft.com web page or any other web page like banking web page. So when we have your banking web page or any web page like durgasoft.com web page, let's move to here browser. I'm opening browser and I'm just opening durgasoft.com website. Just observe here www.durgasft.com. I'm maintaining here. So this is my website, and here so many faculties are there, and which faculty is going to teach what subject. And if you are the student, for example, that student can inquire by looking this website, Durgasoft website, and he can able to get the idea which faculty is teaching which subjects. So if you want to join the course, we can able to inquire with this website particularly. Then easily we can able to manage the things here. Okay, so yes. I will send all the .NET Framework videos at once. You can watch just for that is additional information purpose only. But live sessions, I'm going to conduct all .NET Core platform only. No worries at all. Okay. So within 1 or 2 days, you will receive all the videos of .NET Framework with ASP.NET. And .NET Core Framework with ASP.NET, I am going to teach you now all. This information is just for what actually student point of view. Okay. If they want to join the course, they can join. This is web page information like this. This information related to students or customers, that is called web page. So finally, what I can say web page means information towards the end user. Information towards the end user is called web page. But make sure, sir, web pages are two types, sir. Web pages are two types. What are the two types of web pages? One is static web page, and next one is dynamic web page. Next one is what actually? Dynamic web page. Static web page as well as dynamic web page, we can say. Static web page means non-interaction page is called static web page. What is the static web page here? Non-interaction means user will not interact. Non-interaction page is called static web page, and dynamic web page means user interaction page is called dynamic web page. User interaction page is called dynamic web page. For example, user wants to see the information, he can open and he can read the information and he can left from the web page. But suppose user wants to interact, so suppose he wants to register, so he can click on registration page, he can enter the details, name, address, phone number, so and so. That is interaction by giving your details. This non-user interaction pages are called dynamic web pages. So non-interaction pages, static web page. Dynamic web pages means user interaction pages. So these two types of web pages are there. Using ASP.NET, we can build static web pages as well as dynamic web pages. In general, only HTML through we can prepare static web pages. HTML with JavaScript functionality, we can build dynamic web pages. So, HTML is just for structure of the web page, and CSS means you can add some styling to your HTML elements, and JavaScript is to write some functionality, making some actions. And Bootstrap and jQuery is the advanced libraries of JavaScript as well as CSS. And these two are advanced UI technologies, and these two are implemented by using these three only: HTML, CSS, JavaScript through Bootstrap libraries, jQuery libraries implemented. So I'll discuss 1 week complete sessions on HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Bootstrap, jQuery. So every web developer, web designer must and should aware of at least basics of these HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Bootstrap, jQuery. I'll conduct all the sessions clearly. And static means, yes, about us, contact us. It is correct, exactly. Because when we click on about us page, about the website, you can read it. And contact us, contact details, you can read it. So you just read the content and leave the web page. That is static. And when we try to interact with them, like registration page, login page, change password page, these are called dynamic web page. You are doing some actions. So that is dynamic web page. So non-interaction page is called static page, and user interaction page is called dynamic page only. So this is web page information towards the end user or client or customer. This is called web page. And what is websites are here? Website is a collection of web pages or group of web pages. We can say that collection of web pages or group of web pages. Website is a collection of web pages or group of web pages. We can call it as. Website means what? It is a collection of web pages or group of web pages, we can say. So one website may contain multiple web pages. No, you are not going to only visit only one web page. Once you enter into website, you can able to visit lot of web pages: home page, about us, contact us, registration, change password, forgot password. So many content you can visit. So that is website. It is a collection of web pages or group of web pages website. And most important thing is, especially in ASP.NET, to deal with web applications, everybody should aware about web browser, web server. If you don't have browser software in your computer, you can't open any web page or website. It's not possible also. Compulsory browser software is required. So what is browser actually? Web browser. Web browser is the software. Web browser is a software. Web browser is a software which is used to manage. Web browser is a software, sir. It is software. You have to install it in your computer. Web browser is a software which is used to manage different different types of different types of different types of web pages. If you want to manage different types of web pages, compulsory browser software is required. So if you don't have any browser, you can't manage any web page. You can't open any web page. So browser is mandatory. So what are the browsers? Like Google Chrome, Internet Explorer, Opera, Microsoft Edge, and etc. These are all browser softwares. Compulsory to open any web page, browser software is required. If you don't have browser software, you can't manage any web pages like that. So even when we build or when we design our ASP.NET page, compulsory browser software is required. Whenever we start run ASP.NET application, that will be load in the browser only. Without browser, we can't able to work with web applications. And same like what is web server? Web server is also a software. Web server is also a software here. Web server is a software which is used to manage different which is used to manage different types of websites, not web pages. Server can manage different types of websites only. Okay, so web servers are what are actually? So Apache Tomcat IIS. In most of the .NET applications, we use a built-in web server, that is Internet Information Service. IIS software is there. So this will be automatically will integrate with Visual Studio Editor. So no need to install separately IIS software. So IIS is a server. So web server, why sir? Because complete ASP.NET applications are web applications. All web applications are client server architecture based applications. Client server architecture based application means client will send request to the server, and after that client request will read by the server, means client request will reach to server will process the client request and server is going to take responsibility to send response to the client only. So server is very important for every web application development. In our case, web server is IIS, especially those who are going to deal with .NET applications. For example, Java programmers, majority of the programmers will use, what is that? Apache Tomcat and other servers also available. So server is just a software. It will take requests from the clients and it will process the client request and send response to them. That is the responsibility of server. Every web application implementation is depends on client server architecture based. So compulsory server is required. Without server, we can't run web applications. Without browser, we can't open any web pages. Compulsory web pages and websites compulsory need to be open browser with the help of server only. Okay, so these are the mandatory things clearly here. But now observe here. So in ASP.NET, every web application contains two main components here. Every web application contains two main components. One component is front end, Other component is back end, we can say that. Other component is back end, front end as well as back end actually. Front end and back end. Now, coming to this front end and back end, every web application is having front end and back end, two what we can say, two components are there. Every web application is having two components. One is front end and back end application. So what is front ends are here? Front end means what end user is going to be see onto the screen. That is called front end. What end user is going to be see onto the screen. So front end represent what end user is seeing on the website. So we can develop front end content by using UI technologies. Generally, front end content, how we can develop using UI technologies only. So using UI technologies, we can develop front end content. Front end means final output, what end user is going to see onto the screen, that is called front end. We can build front end by using UI technologies only. UI technologies means what, like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, bootstrap, all these things, UI technologies. Just wait a minute. Now, front end application and back end application, two are the main components in every web application development. And front end means it represent what user is seeing onto the website. And we can develop front end content by using HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and jQuery bootstrap. And as I said that jQuery bootstrap are advanced UI technologies which are developed by using HTML, CSS, JavaScript only. And now here HTML is the main contribution in every web application development. So HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. Every web application should contain HTML. HTML is the mandatory technology for web development and it represents structure of the web page only. Who will represent structure of the web page completely? HTML. HTML will represent structure of the web page. And coming to this, CSS. There is a cascading style sheets are available. So cascading style sheet, it is optional technology. So it's not required to use compulsory. Still, every web application contains CSS. The main objective of CSS is to add styles to the HTML pages. Like only HTML, we cannot make look feel better and appearance or better like this. If you want to do some styling for your HTML elements or HTML tags, then we use CSS. Cascading style sheets. So like style means what? Like colors, fonts, borders, okay, and image display. So these are the styling for your HTML elements for better look and feel for the end users. And JavaScript means it is completely uh, functionality purpose. So JavaScript allows adding some interactivity to the web application, including some programming logic. And the main objective of JavaScript is to functionality to HTML element. Functionality means sometimes user will interact, and that interaction or action purpose you want to write some code, you can write using JavaScript. But most of the cases or majority of the cases, JavaScript can be used in web application development for validations. Validation means what? This is just checking for whether user entered value is correct or not. It will check. If user entered values are not correct, then we can we can stop the user request for do not sending to the server. If user entered data is correct, then only we can allow them to send the request to the server. So this is the JavaScript functionality here. So I will show you in our session how to write JavaScript function and how to use them, how to call them. Okay. Next, coming to the uh, only HTML means static responses. HTML and JavaScript means dynamic responses. Suppose if you want to display welcome to Durga Soft or any other text in response to the end user, only HTML is required. Okay, that is because static response. And if you want to display current system date and time, so right now in your computer, what is the current system date and time? If you want to display, for that compulsory functionality is required. That is JavaScript function, that is dynamic response only. So these are all front end and UI technologies. Using Bootstrap through, we can make our websites look and feel far better. And jQuery is also, it is an advanced JavaScript library here. jQuery means JavaScript library only. If you go for JavaScript, you have to write manually lot of script here. But if you go through jQuery, so you can no need to write lot of script manually. By default, you can able to uh, extend the logic extend the logic by using jQuery, because jQuery is the advanced JavaScript technology libraries. So instantly we can use jQuery libraries without rewriting the code again and again. That is the advantage of jQuery. How to use jQuery libraries, from where we have to get, how to bind the jQuery libraries in our HTML web pages, we will discuss in detail. These are all in the front end cases only. Okay, and coming to the back end. Backend means backend contain three things. Okay, totally backend contains what are three important components. So backend contains mainly three important components. Again, one is the language. One is the language, language. And next one is the framework, framework, framework. And next one is the database, the database. Three things are contained here. Backend contains three important things, like one is language, another one is framework, another one is database. Sir, what language we are using to build ASP.NET web applications? Language is C#.NET. Okay, so strictly remember, those who know that C# basics like object-oriented programming functions at least, then that persons easily can understand ASP.NET code, because we are going to use complete programming and scripting completely with C#.NET only. So the language is required. So C#.NET is compulsory, because using ASP.NET only we can design using HTML, CSS, including ASP.NET framework. Only we can design front end. But behind the scenes, some logic you have to write. No, that logic how to write C#.NET programming only. So to build C#.NET will work in the back end, means code end user cannot see the code. End user can see the front end only. But behind the scenes operations, how it will be, C#.NET through only operations. So C#.NET is logic, compulsory. C#.NET is logic. Programming language is C#.NET. And what framework we are using? Yes, I am going to use ASP.NET Core Framework. ASP.NET Core Framework. So ASP.NET Core or ASP.NET Framework. I'm going to use ASP.NET Core 3.1. This is the framework. Framework means Microsoft people already designed some libraries. That libraries are giving to us. We have to use that libraries, set of rules and regulations they are giving. That rules and regulations you have to follow, and we can build the application with ASP.NET Core 3.1 framework. And the database is required. Database is what's actually SQL Server. Already, most of the students here completed C#.NET and SQL Server also. Some students still they are learning C#.NET. They are almost close to the C#.NET ending. So you can eligible to attend ASP.NET sessions like from today onward. So SQL Server you know already, and C#.NET already you know programming. Now we are going to learn ASP.NET Core 3.1 with all front-end technologies also. So back and behind the scenes, these will important. Programming language important, and ASP.NET Core 3.1 framework is important, and SQL Server database is important. Okay, in upcoming sessions, first after completion of introduction of ASP.NET Core, only Core, then we are going to introduce ASP.NET Core MVC also. MVC means Model View Controller, and later ASP.NET Core ASP.NET Core Entity Framework, EF Core. EF Core is there, Entity Framework Core. And later ASP.NET Core Web API, Application Programming Interface. So these three parts also I'm going to cover in ASP.NET Core. Okay, so MVC and EF Core and Web API all are under comes into ASP.NET. The duration of this ASP.NET course is minimum 45 days. I will take all completion of this because almost you completed C# and SQL Server. These also I'm going to use in this ASP.NET Core web application development. Okay, and every day same as usual, recorded video is there. That recorded video I'll send to your Google Drive, and also soft copy of material also, day-wise or complete material I will show you. Yes, this is completely cross-platform. Cross-platform, that's what I'm saying. ASP.NET with framework, it's not a cross-platform. It's a platform dependent. So I will share that all ASP.NET with framework videos also. And these videos anyway on the flow daily video will be uploaded to your Google Drive. So that we can do it, no problem. So entity framework is related to SQL Server. Exactly. Because entity framework means it's related to SQL Server. Why? The reason is SQL Server code and SQL Server programs, SQL Server tables, no need to create using entity framework, because we are going to write C# classes and class fields automatically. When we do migrations, automatically SQL Server statements will be generated. That SQL Server statements through we can prepare databases, we can prepare queries, and we can prepare all these things like that. So that means language integrated query concept like entity framework core. So all things we will cover, but you need to have the patience to complete this ASP.NET. But even so far, we discussed C#.NET as well as SQL Server. That was completely straightforward. We open the concept and we write the code in C#.NET, and there is no big deal to handle with C# and SQL Server because that is straightforward. But this is very big deal to you and me also. This is ASP.NET. So lot of locations we have to visit and lot of changes you have to do. So if you miss the flow, you can't understand. So your concentration should be high for learning ASP.NET Core. So this is typical things for you and compared to normal ASP.NET using framework. In ASP.NET with framework, there is a drag and drop options are there, but in ASP.NET Core framework, no drag and drop. The reason is it's a platform independent. You know, in 2016 before, 2016 before, .NET was completely platform dependent. Means there was only ASP.NET with framework is there. So people drag and drop options they were used and easily build the web applications. But in 2016 onwards, Microsoft announced ASP.NET Core. That means makes platform independent. So it will run on any platform. So user only, programmer only should implement their web page by writing HTML, CSS, JavaScript functionalities and bootstrap functionalities and making template like front end presentation and C#.NET logic code also they should write, and they integrated with SQL Server. All three layers are required like model, view, controller. So many layers will be involved. So multiple places you have to visit in ASP.NET Core development. That is the problem. Most of the students will get confused. So where we are going, why we are going, what you are setting, how this coordination, that is the confusion thing in ASP.NET. So by practice on the flow, you will get complete information. I'm here to you to take the complexity things in simple way. So easily we can able to develop ASP.NET. But the thing is somewhat little bit confusion will create in the initial stage of ASP.NET Core development. That I will avoid you. Try to avoid maximum cases. Only the thing is you have to maintain the flow and you should attend regularly. Then only concept will understand. Otherwise not. So first in tomorrow's session, what we'll do first thing, I will compare. I will show you comparison with ASP.NET Framework, how it will be, and ASP.NET Core, how it will be. I will create both application, then we will see that. And after that, we will go for complete HTML discussion, CSS discussion, JavaScript discussion, Bootstrap discussion, jQuery, all these things we will discuss first 1 week. After 1 week of brush up sessions of these UI technologies, then actual ASP.NET Core implementation we will begin. Otherwise, we will not understand. Okay, so this is complete basic introduction today only, and tomorrow onwards our regular session will happen. Tomorrow I will try to create application with Visual Studio, and both applications I will create. After that we'll go for this, and after that we'll go for ASP.NET Core concepts continuously. But ASP.NET Core and ASP.NET MVC, it's not a big differences. Only core means you are going to write the single layer code. MVC means multi-layer code only. So only few sessions I'll conduct ASP.NET Core, and most of the discussion will be on MVC platform only. Nowadays, the programmers are asking MVC architecture, model, view, controller. Our complete lectures will go through on MVC only, maximum cases. Okay. Yes, that you have to keep it in your mind. ASP.NET Core MVC, ASP.NET Core Web API, ASP.NET Core EF Entity Framework Core, all these things through MVC only I will conduct all the sessions. Okay. So this is about today's session, just a basic session. This recorded video also I'll send to you. Just wait for today night. And tomorrow you can join on the same link. We'll continue that.